So this next video is all about osmosis. This is a topic that you will have covered at high school. Some of the terms we'll use in the video might be slightly different, but you do already know the basic idea of it. We're just going to give you some more of the advanced terms that we need to use. So osmosis, what we have here is a membrane down the center of the page with phospholipids and either channel or carrier proteins in the membrane. Some of the other components like glycoproteins, glycolipids have been removed just to make it a little bit easier to understand. On the left-hand side of the page, I've got lots of water molecules. And on the right-hand side of the page, I've got less water molecules. Now at high school, you may have learned that water molecules move from a high concentration to a low concentration. And the first thing I want to pick up on is, if you consider that statement, what is a concentration of water? It's quite a hard thing to kind of explain really, because you can't concentrate water. So what we do, we change the term ever so slightly and we use the term water potential. And then, as in previous videos, we don't say from a high to a low, we say from a higher to a lower. So in terms of osmosis, it is the movement of water molecules from an area of higher water potential to an area of lower water potential. And in this case here, the water molecules will slowly move through the phospholipid bilayer. They can very, very slowly creep through that membrane from where there are lots to where there are less. Now, one thing to just add to this is, if we have a solution that has just water in there and there's nothing else, there's no sodium, potassium, magnesium, there's nothing, it's just pure water. We say it has a water potential of 0 kilopascals. As you begin to add things to it, such as salts or sugar, anything that dissolves in there, the water potential begins to fall and it becomes more and more negative. For example, minus 150 kilopascals. So again, what I have here is the same membrane. And on one side, I'm going to put lots and lots of water. So a very, very high water potential, virtually pure water, so 0 kilopascals. And on the other side, I have some water, but I've also put extra things in that solution. So the little blue triangles are meant to represent something that's dissolved in the water. So it may be sugar, it may be salt. Okay, but as you add those things to it, the water potential begins to fall, it begins to decrease. And you can see here that on one side, I've now got lots of water, a higher water potential, and on the other side, I've got a low or a lower water potential. So the water molecules will move through the bilayer from where there are lots to where there are less. Okay, so all we've done there is just add some numbers to what you already knew, hopefully, from high school. In terms of a definition, osmosis is the net movement of water molecules. So what I mean by net is the overall result. Water molecules are moving from where there are lots to where there are less. The odd one or two may bounce in the wrong direction and might actually go from where there are less to where there are more. But the net, the overall result is always from where there is a large amount, a higher, to where there's a low amount, a lower. Now, because we're doing, obviously looking at biological membranes, this would normally be through a membrane. So it might be through a cell surface membrane on a cell. It may be through a membrane on a mitochondria. It might be through a membrane on a vacuole. Okay, so the last statement could change depending on what you're talking about, but it is always the net movement of water molecules from a higher water potential to a low water potential, and then you may add in through a particular membrane. I just want to give you a little sneak preview of something else that you tend to study a bit later on in the course. So when you look at osmosis, what I've said so far has been absolutely true. water molecules move from where there are a higher amount to where there's a lower amount, from a higher water potential to a lower water potential. There are, only in very specific parts of our body, there are actually channel proteins that are made for water. They don't exist in every membrane. They're primarily found in our kidneys. And what it is, it's a way of making effectively a big hole in a membrane to allow the water to move through much, much faster, so we can recover, save the water, so we don't therefore lose it in excretion. So that's a bit of a sneak preview. These little proteins are actually called aquaporins, and an aquaporin is just a very special channel protein that's designed for water. But like I say, they are very specific. They're only in our kidneys. It's something that you will learn eventually, but it's not at the beginning of this course. But I wanted to mention it just because it is a fact and it is true. Okay, so I hope that's been some help.